Well, good morning, everybody. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. I know this is going to be recorded and shared at 6 p.m. tonight. I'm Ron Cottam. I'm out of the Tupelo office. Very honored to have this moment on today and to try to help each and every one of us. This is not just for those I'm speaking to. I apply a lot of these practices to my own life and try to deal with everything that I deal with so I can be more effective for all of our patients and their families, and of course, also staff. Today, my topic is going to be keeping our battery full of coping mechanisms. In the life that we live, I've come to find out each and every day that sometimes we can be depleted. And when the battery on our vehicles is, of course, having some issues and it doesn't hold a charge, a lot of times it causes a whole lot of problems and puts us in places of stress. And so, for me personally, dealing with life and all that it has to offer, whether good or bad, I've always tried to practice keeping my battery full of coping mechanisms, those coping mechanisms that help, obviously, with life and not just to get by, but to overcome. I'm a firm believer as a minister that I believe God has designed all of us to overcome by the word of our testimony. And so, with that being said, I just want to share some things and some thoughts today that hopefully can help you and encourage you, because obviously, the better that we are, the better that we are to our patients and families and our staff. And so, I hope this encourages you today. I hope it strengthens you, and I hope that you find something that can actually help you live a better life without a whole lot of issues that seem to overwhelm us. So I want to begin today, obviously, with my topic. The topic is keeping our battery full of coping mechanisms. And one thing that I underlined, and I want to read to you, and I got this out of the studies of John Hopkins. This is a very wonderful piece of writing, but it said coping can be defined as the efforts we make to manage situations we have appraised as potential harmful and stressful situations. Those who cope best are those with a battery of coping strategies. And that's why I entitled this Coping with Obviously a Battery Full of Coping Mechanisms. And one of the things I've come to find out that to be a good coper, that's COPER, try to put a smile on your face, but to be a good coper, I believe it means to have these skills in place. And one of those skills is stress management, time management, problem solving, decision making, and lifestyle management. Now, when it comes to stress management, I want to stop right there for just a moment and go over some things to help manage stress. A lot of times when we get into stressful situations, we find ourselves digging a hole that's deeper and it's harder to come out of. And that's what I also identify in patients and their families, a lot more so with the families because they're dealing with their loved one, dealing with such a tremendous, overwhelming diagnosis that sometimes they just don't know how to get through. They don't know how to manage. And a lot of times it's that stress that seems to be so overwhelming. One of the things that I've come to find out that there's a lot of different avenues that you can manage stress, keep the stress in check to where it doesn't overwhelm you. And so one of the things I try to talk to my families and patients or even staff is finding those ways to manage that stress to feel a little bit better as you're approaching every situation that is at hand. 9 ways. You can write these down if you would like. I would encourage you to put these on note cards and keep them close by. But to help somebody deal with stress management, there's 9 ways that I feel like are great to manage that stress. One is spending time in nature. There's nothing more refreshing when you can actually take a nice, good walk with some brisk air or just really looking up into the clouds and getting lost into the blue of the sky and the sunshine. And when you have those walks in nature, those times in nature, and hearing the birds chirping and just the wonderful sounds that you hear when you're taking a walk, there's just something so soothing about that. If you're not able to do that, there's other ones. I said there's 9 ways to manage stress. And so one of those ways, obviously, is spend time in nature. I also love to spend time with friends. I feel like I'm a people person. I don't meet strangers. I love people. And so when I spend time with those people that I know have my best interest at heart, I surround myself with good people, those that are encouraging, those that, seem to try to keep a smile on their face, and they're just good natured. They like to have fun. I think those things are very important when you surround yourself with good friends. And I say that carefully because obviously we have to choose wisely. And when you do choose friends that can absolutely, build into your life, speak into your life to encourage you when you feel down, those are the type friends that I believe help manage stress. Another one is art. I've got some really wonderful friends that they enjoy just taking an easel, putting a canvas on there, and just going to town painting whatever it is that's in their mind. And I don't know if you like to do art. Some people just like to grab a coloring book and color in and just spend time coloring and creating art, or maybe pottery is your thing. Any kind of art. It's also a great way to manage stress. I think the more that we keep our heart rate down, the more that we just slow down, the more that we just take our time in life. And I understand that we're living in such a culture that is fast. It's moving very rapidly. But with that being said, I think the more that we can enjoy, obviously, nature, our friends, and maybe doing some type of art, it will help manage stress. I feel like stress is one of those things that leads to a whole lot of problems. And that's what causes people not to have great coping skills in place. And then, therefore, like I said at the top of this broadcast, we talked about keeping our battery full, and that battery gets depleted. It's no good. And when it's no good, it has no life and it can't give life. And so I want to continue to give life to people. So I spend a lot of my time managing my stress with these uh, ways to manage the stress. Say your prayers. I'm a firm believer in pausing and just offering up those moments to honor God for who He is in my life, to pray for those around me, to pray for my family, to pray for my friends, to pray for our patients, to pray for our staff. And I just find those times and moments, even when I don't have the words to say, I just say, thank you, God, for another day. Thank you for the air that I breathe. Let me not take for granted those wonderful blessings that you give us. So say in your prayers. If you're very spiritual, then you obviously understand what I'm talking about. I'm a firm believer that saying those prayers really helps manage a lot of stress in life. Do exercises. I don't mind telling you, at 56 years old, I'm very excited to take some wisdom from my son. And he's a professional bodybuilder, and he's taught me some things. And so I do calisthenics a lot. And now he's got me up to about 80 push-ups a day, doing exercises and getting a good sweat going, and keeping your heart healthy and active. It can really help manage a lot of stressful situations in life. And so the more that I exercise, the better I feel. And so that's with me, and I believe it's with anyone. And so exercising, I think, is very important to help manage stress. Reading a good book, reading a good magazine, reading articles. If you've got a Kindle, then obviously you already know what a Kindle can provide. You can get just about anything on your Kindle and read. Take about, 15, 20 minutes a day and just read something that's very positive and good for you. something that can help you in your vocation, something that can help you in your life, something that's very encouraging. So one of the ways to manage stress, obviously, is finding good readings and those moments that you can break away from all that you've got going on and just take a little bit of time and just read a good book or read a good magazine. Another one is practicing yoga. I know there's a lot of people that I know personally that they spend that time in a very quiet place and they do these movements that really help them physically, but it also helps them kind of focus on just peace. And the a lot of times that's what yoga brings, is that peace, that just tranquility that a lot of people talk about, that takes you out of all the chaos that we face each and every day. So practicing yoga is a great way to manage stress. And there's a lot of great yoga places just about in every town and city that can help offer those moments that you can relax and really just have that peace just overtake you and to really help you feel better. And then once you are finished and complete, then you can take on the next task that might be a little bit overwhelming. But these are ways that you can manage your stress, is by getting into a good yoga class. Um, I would say managing time. Time management is always great to help us manage stress a little bit better. I don't mind sharing that I've got a notebook, I've got my calendar on my phone. I like to have things organized. I've got a wedding business on the side, and I keep everything definitely in my calendar to keep me focused on the tasks that are at hand. And so managing our time better will really help manage that stress. And even if it's difficult, if it seems like maybe things change like the wind does, just write those things down and be able to go back to those things and complete those tasks and move on. But time management is always a great way to manage stress. And then, of course, think positive. I saved this one for last, but I don't think I could overstate this. But thinking positive, staying away from negative situations, or at least negative talk, and those that might speak negative more in their life than they do positive. Trying to exclude the toxic relationships and those toxic people that probably could tear down that positivity in your life. I think thinking positive and trying to speak positive and just try to look at that there's more good than there is bad, and that also helps manage stress. So one more time, we talked about a good coper has these skills in place, and that's one, stress management, and that's what we just talked about, the 9 ways to manage stress. Taking a walk in nature, enjoying nature, spending time with friends, doing some art, saying your prayers, doing some exercises, making sure that you keep that good fitness going on in your life, reading a good book, practicing yoga, manage your time, and of course, thinking positive. Those are the 9 ways that I truly, truly try to focus on in my own life to help people manage stress and my own self as well. So being a good coper means to have these skills in place. That's stress management. Now, we already looked at stress management, but time management, we just hit that just a little bit. But time management is a sign that you're a good coper, to keep your coping skills full and to always have those things that you can go back on in order to deal with what you're dealing with in life. Problem solving. I am a individual that I always try to find the root of every problem. And I said that carefully because I want us to understand that it's not so much to look at the problem and try to find that solution, but find the root of the problem. Once we find the root cause of the problem, it's easier for us not to go back to that same situation that causes our coping skills to be in disarray. And so problem solving is a wonderful way to be a good coper, that people look at you and say, you know what, they've got it together. They seem to be doing really well with any kind of conflict that comes into their life, or any kind of emotion or feeling that just seems to go south quick, fast, and in a hurry. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to deal with life. Life is hard. Let me just pause for a moment. Life is very difficult. Life is hard. And so I think that when we put the right things in place, the right tools in place, we can deal with life a little bit better. Um, just sharing from my own personal experience, I came out of 9 divorced homes. I was beaten by 3 of my stepfathers. And to this day, I still don't even know who my biological father is. So, with that being said, I've had to identify coping skills in my life to overcome all the emotions that I dealt with. And because of that, it made me a better person. And so now when I come into a situation, it's like I look back at my life and see the things that I put into practice, the things that I put into place, and it helped me overcome so much in life. And so I'm grateful to tell you that everything that I went through, apologies, everything I went through, it made me better. And so now it's like I'm in a position that I can help people, because using those same coping mechanisms, they help me. And so how they help me, I want to help others. And so problem solving, then decision making. I really try to make sure that before I make a decision, I think it out, having a good thought process. Look at the beginning, look at the middle, look at the end, look at how this is going to affect my life. And if it affects my life for a positive, it's just easier for me to make that decision to go forward. And so that makes you a good coper to deal with life and to keep your battery full of all the coping mechanisms when you make better decisions. And then, of course, lifestyle management. Sometimes we just got to change our lifestyle. I don't mind sharing that with everything that I dealt with in life. I had to make some lifestyle changes. And so I moved in with my grandmother when I was young. And I made that lifestyle change because I didn't want to become a product of my environment. And so sometimes we're in situations because of our surroundings. And sometimes you have to uproot yourself and place yourself in a position that's going to give you a better outlook on life. And so I never wanted to have bitterness. I never wanted to have resentment. I didn't want to have anger. I didn't want to have those things in my life. And so how I dealt with it was by putting myself in a better position. So sometimes you have to change your lifestyle. And so to be a good coper means to have these skills in place: stress management. And we looked at the 9 ways to to manage stress: time management, problem solving, decision making, and lifestyle management. And these are the things that I put into practice, and they've just really, really helped me immensely. And so I want to give these things to you and help you as well. Um, Resilience is the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, threats, and other significant sources of stress. Providing care for a loved one over a long period of time, or working as a professional caregiver in today's demanding environment, can be a significant source of stress. Resilience is not something that we are born with, but it is something that everyone can learn and develop. And that's exactly when I wanted to pause for just a moment and kind of hit just briefly. Resilience is not something that we are born with, but it is something that everyone can learn and develop. My goal in life is to be resilient with everything that I face. Because if I'm resilient with everything that I face, then I can help someone else, whether it's a patient, whether it's a family member, whether it's a staff member, I can help them overcome. I want to see people resilient. I'm so tired of looking at the world and just seeing people so defeated. And so I want to encourage everybody to understand, when we put these practices in place, you will become resilient, and everybody is going to gravitate to you. And so that's the exciting thing about it, is that when you overcome, people want to see and they want to utilize the talents and the giftings that you have. And so I'm fortunate enough to
have such a story in my life, and I'm just so open to share where I've come from. And it helps people deal with all the pressures of life, whether it's a bad diagnosis or something that has haunted them in their past, and trying to help somebody deal with what they're dealing with every day, the depression, the anxieties, the fears. And our job as caregivers is to try to show them that there is hope, and not just hope, but to help them become that resilient person in their life. And so, according to some studies that was founded by Johns Hopkins, a combination of factors contributes to resilience. But the most important factor is having caring and supportive relationships that create love and trust. Other factors with resilience are these, and I wrote these down: the capacity to make and carry out realistic plans, the capacity to make and carry out realistic plans. I write these things down. I'm a realist. I write things down that I believe that we can all accomplish and do. And then I help try to devise a plan to carry those realistic plans out. Have a positive view of yourself. I didn't have much to look at myself at growing up, at least so I thought. I felt like I was just one of those that was going to be a product of my environment at one time. I didn't think that I was going to be able to accomplish things in life. I was bullied. I believed in a lot of that. The awful things that were spoken were just not positive. And so I got to a place in my life that I know that I can do great things. And it's just the mentality that you have to have. You have to have that positive view of yourself first. If you don't love yourself, it's going to be real hard for you to love anybody else. Confidence in your strengths and abilities. I struggle with that, but even to this day, I always try to have confidence in my training, confidence in my strengths, my skills, and my skill sets and abilities to be able to help people. So confidence in your strengths and abilities, communication and problem-solving skills. Before I even attack any kind of situation, I step back, take a deep breath, and I evaluate it. I try to look at it from the beginning to the middle to the end, or wherever that might be. And I try to evaluate the whole problem, and I want to make sure that I'm able to identify those things that can be changed to make it better. So communication and problem-solving skills. And then, of course, capacity to manage strong impulses and feelings. Emotions for everybody is different. And so I can't stress that enough. Everybody is on a different playing field, so to speak, with their emotions and their characters. And so the capacity to manage that is being able to have all these coping skills and coping mechanisms in place, and you can identify how you can approach without offending, without hurting, without causing any deeper hurt or pains or struggles. And so I've got real quick, we're running out of time. I got quick 10 strategies to build that resilience. Make connections, maintain good relationships and close family members and friends. Accept help and support from those who care about you. Be active in civic, faith-based, or even local organizations. Assist others in their time of need. One of the things that I've been really fortunate and blessed in is that here in Saltillo, Mississippi, I actually happen to be the chaplain of the entire city. And so it helps me be a part of our police officers, our firefighters, our mayor, our city officials. And I get the opportunity to spend time with them. And I'm a firm believer that iron sharpens iron. So I'm always trying to help people be better, and they're always trying to help me as well. And so make those good communications. Avoid seeing crisis as a problem. Avoid looking at a crisis and calling it a problem. Try to look beyond the present to how future circumstance may be better. Note any subtle ways in which you can already feel better as you deal with the difficult circumstance. Accept that change is a part of life. Number 3, accept that change is a part of life.
Try to increase your flexibility and understand that some goals may be longer, but they are attainable. Learning to accept circumstances that cannot be changed may help you focus your attention on circumstances that you can change. And then number 4, move toward your goal. Develop realistic goals, break them into smaller goals. Try to accomplish at least a small amount in progress toward your goal each day. Number 5, take decisive actions. Take decisive actions. Act on adverse situations as much and as soon as you can, take action rather than detaching from the problems and wishing they would go away. That'll help you so much build that resiliency in your life. Number 6, look for opportunities to self-discover. Evaluate and reframe your adverse situations and examine which ways in which you have grown through the process of dealing with them. And then may people have experienced tragedies and intense personal hardships, reported better relationships, greater sense of self-strength, increased self-worth, and of course, develop spiritual maturity and heightened appreciation for life. I love this. Number 7 is nurture a positive view of yourself. Develop confidence in your ability to solve problems and trust your own instincts. Number 8, keep things in perspective. Try to consider your stressful situations in a broader context and keep a long-term perspective. Try to avoid blowing unpleasant events out of proportion. Number 9, maintain a hopeful outlook. Try to visualize what you want rather than worrying about what you fear. And then number 10, take care of yourself. Pay attention to your own needs and your feelings. Participate in activities you find enjoyable and relaxing, such as exercise, entertainment, and hobbies. And these will help you be resilient, and they'll also be a great blessing to you by building up that battery of full coping mechanisms that are going to make a difference in lives all around you. And that's it. Do we have any questions? I hope everybody enjoyed that. There was a lot that I needed to read and a lot of things I needed to share. And I hope that we've helped you in some form or fashion. Once again, this is going to re-air at 6 o'clock tonight. And I would encourage you to share this out with anyone. And I'm here for you.